everybody. Welcome to Jive Tarot. This week, Scorpio's freestyle read. Yes, we do freestyle here. So, in order to go ahead and get this kicking, what I like to do is I like to pick an overall energy for the read. I like to see exactly where it's going or what it's about. Kind of helps me get my bearings when the cards just start coming out. Let's see. Temperance. All right. So your overall energy, Scorpio, seems to be one of patience during a healing process. Interesting enough, trust. And I'm also getting the feeling of surrender or release, like really letting go. Now, this might be difficult for some of you. It was relatively easy for me because I've always been relatively submissive. But it's not necessarily easy, and I'm not going to try to make it seem like it is. It's kind of overbearing, and it kind of can be combated by our feeling of complacency, not trying, sloth, unworthiness. But what we're doing right now is just seems like we're observing, because with temperance right there and the overall energy of the read, this to me talks about surrendering to the forces that are working in the background, or releasing and trusting that something else has our back and is working in our interest. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and just start pulling cards. We're going to see what's going on. What are they talking about? What, if anything, did I leave out of the 9-card spiritual and the relationship read? You. All right. So with the 6 of Cups right here, it could be about children, family, home life, or nostalgia. Some kind of past instance. Gift giving. You could be asking something as simply as, I want to do this for these people, but what do they think of it? Sometimes we give without expectations. Sometimes we give just because we want to, and maybe you can find yourself kind of second guessing what it means to them. Like, do they think that I like them? I mean, apparently I do, but do they think that I like them? Am I like putting my foot in my mouth? Am I like having them gossip about me or laugh because I'm doing this? Or is it received in the nature in which it was supposed to be received? I see it's very simple for you, or maybe you should try to put down these woulda, coulda, shouldas, and actions and perceived ways of going about things. Walk away from that. Step outside of it. Now I have a 5 and 2 8s here, which kind of leads me to believe there's a progression, right? But there was like a backsliding a little bit. So I have the 6 and the 7, right? And Pentacles and Cups are so relatively close that sometimes I could be mistaken emotion for physical desires, needs, comforts, money, trips. It kind of promotes the same kind of feeling, of euphoric kind of feeling. So they can kind of be interchangeable. But with the 5 back here, I think I took a step back and kind of started to battle with it. Like, what are they thinking? What is going on in their head? Like, the way you're giving, the way you're doing, the way you're promoting and kind of serving them is unexpectational. Like, you don't expect anything from it. It's just what you're compelled to do, what you feel compelled to do. And so, but the ego steps in, right? And they kind of start to battle with it a little bit. and starts to go like, maybe I'm giving off this impression. Maybe I'm giving off that impression. Now, mind you, these energies can be interchangeable. So if you find yourself on the receiving end of the gift giving, understand that the person giving the gift is probably going through quite a time right now, trying to second guess the truest form of gift giving. You understand that they don't mean anything by it. I see that for the most part, they could be frivolous spenders, or you could be a frivolous spender, right? With the King of Cups, the King of Pentacles in reverse, and the Knight of Swords, I see that it's already in the nature of the person giving the gifts, right? I have a very big heart. I like to share. I like to give. I like to, it doesn't mean really anything. It's just that I'm kind of irresponsible with money and gifts. And maybe it's just better off with you. Maybe you would appreciate it more. Shit, maybe I went on a shopping spree and I impulse bought like all this stuff, and now, well, it just seems like you like it better, or you would appreciate it more. You understand? Hmm. But stepping away from fear, or the fear of lack, or the fear of I bought it, it's mine, and walking away from the things that don't serve us anymore. It's like, yeah, I mean, I did. Yes, it is very expensive, but I don't want anything for it. I'm not trying to sell it to you. Here, have it, you know? For the most part, what I got just now was some sort of, there's a weighing of the options. You understand? The Two of Pentacles right here is sitting there, and he's kind of trying to figure it out. Now, I see the same kind of combative feel with the Five of Wands in the reverse. I feel like we're just kind of weighing our options, picking the lesser of two evils. It's just in my nature. I don't have to explain it to you. But now I'm second guessing how you're judging me for it. Okay. So, but immediately and on the forefront, I realize that it makes me happy. I don't have to explain it, and I don't have to understand it. I don't have to understand why I'm not hurt that I just spent $500 on this thing and it's just sitting in the corner. I never took it out the box. And you talking about that thing and I give it to you. I don't feel any loss. I don't feel any lack. I don't feel like the world should revolve around me. I don't feel any greed or gluttony or need to. I just give, for God's sake. There is an idea of a sense of insecurity and a sense of wanting something in return. These are the fears that I feel a fear about, uh, that you could misconstrue that I want something in return for this thing. And I really don't, you know? I feel that there's a fear. Now, all these are expressed by this Five of Wands right here in reverse, that these are things that I'm fighting with, right? I'm fighting with the idea that you're going to see me as insecure, right? Or brown nosing, or trying to buy your friendship or your love. And really, I could care less if we ever spoke again. It's just you were very loud in the office cubicle and expressing how you would like this thing, and I have it in a box sitting somewhere, and I'm never going to use it. That I might want something in return for it. You understand? That I'm only doing it to get in your best nature. Or that I take a back burner. That this is the most, I mean, possible card, but I'm weighing those options, and I shouldn't have to. You understand? I should just be able to give freely and compassionately without having to sit there and waste my time or spend my time trying to figure out what message is being construed, except for hallelujah. Isn't God good? You know, I mean, something similar to that. Bottom of the deck. It's the Six of Swords. Now, I am fighting with this. I am trying to get over the mountain. Now, this isn't necessarily an easy mountain to overcome by any means. You understand? The ego will play with you. The ego will play with you. But once you start to release and relinquish control over having more than the idea of lack, or never being able to replace it, or impulse buying, and maybe I should stop myself from being myself. Do you understand? That there's an idea that I'm having to move away from all of these judgmental phases where I think I'm going to be judged or laughed at or mocked or ridiculed because of who I am at my freest form, my inner child, for God's sake. Now, this awakening of your inner child, this ascension of your inner child, is relative. It's not simple. You know, our inner child is really sensitive. My inner child walks around on my divine masculine's back, wielding a baseball bat with barbed wire around it and blowing bubbles. My inner child is as uninhibited as I believe one could possibly be. She listens out of trust, not out of shame. But that was a very long, hard road of stuffing and stuffing and stuffing and putting on the back burner and hushing and hushing and hushing and keeping small and staying locked in a closet. That when it finally came out and I realized what kind of power that inner child actually added to my being, then I was able to, trust it more and give it a baseball bat. Sport it. Laugh if you want. But don't get close. You know? But I do see you struggling with it, or the person that you're dealing with. I see them struggling with it. You know? And since as a unit, as a human unit, we would be trying to judge less outwardly and judge more inwardly. You understand? That take it to heart any judgment that I put out there or I see or I notice in my world or my surroundings, that they directly mirror or reflect something about myself. Yes. So because they do this, then what Susie says about Sally says more about Susie than it says about Sally. And we have to learn how to let go of what other people think. The moon in reverse. This is where our subconscious, our dreams, our insecurities, our subconscious really starts to shine and show through, illuminating or adding depth and shadows to our subconscious being, the thing that we are trying to connect to and listen more strongly to. I see puppets on a string here, and I think it's kind of another fear. Now, mind you, that we are trying to, on the right-hand side, right? This is our present or our most recent past. That we are trying to unbind ourselves from this judgment, these judgments, right? And we are trying to walk away from what no longer serves us emotionally. This is trial. This is error. This is that ebb and flow, those energies trying to pull us back, because it's not till we start to ascend that those energies work extra hard to try to pull us back and stop us from taking that step up, right? So what I see happening here is, because it's so fresh, me not second guessing myself, me stepping out of my fear, me walking away from the things and the fears and the external judgments that no longer serve me or that have never served me. It's still fresh. Blow of wind, and you float right away. You have to want to be convinced or have enough faith that you are going in the right direction to continue to step out of and up from these energies and continue to walk forward. Yes, have to. And I support that completely. Now, here is another card with the Six of Pentacles here. This is another card of, or another way of looking at it, right? We have the Six of Pentacles. This is supposed to be a card of balance, but if you look deeply into this card, you'll see that there's a lot of withholding. There's a lot of holding back. And I'm only giving you need to know information or need to have the essentials. I'm only giving you a sip of water. I'm not going to give you the whole bottle. Why would you give them the whole bottle of water? Why would you only give them a sip? Why would you do that except to stop being called a fool or stop being called fruitless, you know, or brown nosing or flirting? Why does it have to be flirting? Why can't I just give this to you? Like I said, I can give it to you, walk away, and never see you again. It's the message you seek, not the messenger. I'm not doing that for any particular cause or reason. I'm just doing it because it was laid on my heart to do it. But when we start to succumb to the subconscious and they start to add the shadow, like I said, or strengthen the delusion or the illusion, and we let outside influences direct our internal path, we give these people control over us. And then this starts happening. This greed, this gluttony, this withholding that is not in alignment with the spirit of success or abundance, right? You have to be in alignment with the spirit of abundance for that flow to continue to go. Well, I'm going to keep giving it to her because she always seems to be in the right space at the right time, and she hands it over freely without attachment or expectation. So this is the avenue I'm going to keep pumping the lifeblood through because I'm not blocked off like Joe or Janice or David or Daniela. You know, I am free-flowing and abundant. So it's important for you. See, I have that Six of Cups in reverse, the Wheel of Fortune in the upright, and the Eight of Cups. All right. So with the Moon in reverse and this selfish deck, this pile. So for the aspects of y'all that are having a little bit of difficulty with it, maybe being overtaken and kind of pushed by the world to be more withholding, you know, shamed by doing it. Now you're, like I said, with the Six of Cups, this is giving with expectation in this. This is giving with expectation. And you see how all the people, you'll see them, they're watching this little puppet show, right? And they're laughing and they're laughing and everything's being puppeted. Remember how I said about the puppeting? Feels like you're being puppeted into believing that this is the better way. Well, mind you, you'll still end up exactly where you are again. It'll be a bigger cycle. You understand what I'm saying? But you'll end up walking away from that again with the Eight of Cups in the upright. You'll be able to walk away from it with a more secured sense of, why did I ever listen to them? Why did I ever make me feel like I should be ashamed of giving? See the King of Pentacles in the upright right here. It is, oh, and a transformation. And the Page of Swords of learning. Yes. Okay, okay, okay. So through more diligent scrutiny, you see how he's got that little monocle on his eye where he's better able to discern the truth of the matter, right? And he's learning, he's a student, he's just fresh out, but he's just because he's fresh out the gate does not mean that he's not privy or capable or able to use that information when he's discerning the truth and transform to something a little bit more stable. Now, just because what Susie says about Sally says more about Susie than it says about Sally does not mean that my frivolous giving, be it of love, be it of money, be it of time, energy, faith, information, help, doesn't matter what it is, that I will be in a position to where I can do it more often. And I receive it more often. Because I receive it more often, I get a finder's fee more often. Yes. But I've got to put myself on a level. I've got to be able to be attentive and listening, you know, discerning, and uninhibited. Uninhibited. Yes. See the Knight of Wands in reverse at the bottom of the deck. And I'm feeling like there's an idea of arrogance. I am better than you because I'm always giving something to you. You understand? And that's not necessarily the case. It is for me because I have trouble asking for things. But it's not necessarily the case here. Yes, there are. Look, this Five of Wands is giving just off so many different avenues of what it could be. What is it that you are trying to put behind you that stops you from being your true inner child self? What is it? It's an idea that they might think that I'm better than them. It's an idea that they think I'm brown nosing. It's an idea that they think that I want something from them. It's an idea that they think that I'm just irresponsible. And yeah, you know what? If I was irresponsible, I own it because it still feels good. And it never stopped me before. So, all right, Scorpio, that's pretty much all I have for you. I'm going to pull 3 quick cards to go ahead and close this reading. Get a quick summary. Maybe not. Okay, there's one. Okay, I see the Page of Swords in reverse. Okay, and never stop learning. That's a very, very important side note, that just because I have reached this portion of myself where I am able to give freely, and the Ace of Pentacles upright, where I'm able to give and produce and see the benefits, and the Four of Cups in the upright, that I shouldn't refuse to take a step up. I was stuck in a position, Five of Swords in reverse. We've got to constantly want to be better, and not at the expense of other people, right? Not at the expense of whoever we're giving to that shames. Not at the expense of ourselves where we're giving more than what we have to give. I don't think that there's ever a situation in which you will be compelled by spirit to give more than you have to give, or more than spirit is willing to replace. I don't think so. But with this closing, it's also an idea that just because there's all these new opportunities unfolding doesn't mean that we ever stop learning. You understand? And we can't just refuse to grow and change. So even if there is hardships like the one that you're going through, where you feel compelled to look at yourself and really put yourself under a microscope and examine it, doesn't necessarily mean... They're so polite. Anyway, doesn't necessarily mean that I'm going to refuse getting better. You understand? And until I sit in these emotions and really pick them apart and look at them and see what they mean to me and why I fear them at all, then I cannot ascend higher. You understand? And we all just want to take that next step up. We don't want to become a stone statue in Atlantis, far, far away. You understand? We want to continue to breathe life and grow and change and be an ever working part of the universe around us. So until next time, Scorpio, thanks for visiting. And please like, comment, subscribe. Do hit the bell so you can be informed next week when I upload Single and Ready to Mingle. Yes, it was the Tarot Do-Si-Do, but I decided to change it because, you know, square. And anyway. So, yeah. And thanks again for stopping by at Jive Tarot.